I'm Shekinah Walton. I am the host and the MC for tonight. And I just want to thank the sponsors who have made this docuseries even possible. First, we want to acknowledge Gabrielle Hamilton, Zaria Smith, Alicia Dixon, Will and Jackie Crawford, William Miles, Jerome Stiegel, Maurice Mitchell, and also some amazing organizations that sponsored Tolbert and Tolbert, Horizon Bank, and etc. Thank you so much to all the sponsors who donated and really contributed to making this docuseries possible. It takes a lot of resources in order to put something of this caliber together, and so we are so appreciative. And now, this is a time if you would like to donate, if you are inspired by the vision, if you are inspired by everything that you saw on the screen, this is an opportune time to donate. And I believe we may have a QR code that will come on the screen. But if not, you can go to faithworksmedia.org, and there is a donate button. There you can click donate, and it will take you right through the steps. It's very simple. And all proceeds will go to this docuseries because we need crew members, we need team members, production requires a lot, and so with your resources and your help, we're able to move at a faster pace. So again, you can go to faithworksmedia.org, and then you can click the donate button. And now, without further ado, I'm going to welcome up none other than Apostle Walton, the founder of FaithWorks Network, and also Faith Community Center North, where we're sitting at.
All right, let's convert our claps over again to FaithWorks Media. Jennifer Walton, such an awesome job. I'm so thankful for my daughters. Shekinah, just an expert MC, and I am also thankful for you, those of you who've come. I want to acknowledge certain ones. All of you all who are here for the first time and you're in some type of business or service, just raise your hands. Let's see those who are here for the first time. Okay, all right. Give them a hand. All those who are working in some capacity in the health industry, if you would stand, you're working in some capacity in the health industry, whether it's social workers. Okay. All right. I do know we have elected official, Councilwoman Ivy. Stand up, Councilwoman Ivy. She's a new councilwoman. Thank you for coming with us tonight and to help us to share the progress of Gary. Also, we have Lisa Daughtry. She is our CWI president. Everyone may not know who you are. CWI Center Workforce Innovation. And as the video showed in the episode, we need one another to do any significant change for the city of Gary. I've heard several people say the same thing. Lisa mentioned it, Pastor Purtle mentioned it. People have to be changed from the inside out in order for the culture to change. And so we're working on that. Lisa Daughtry, you all know that they have their Think or the Work Big project. It started out as Think Big, and that's something that the mayor asked them to support. And so they're running hard to get this done, and it's for the cause of the betterment of people. And so I'm always grateful for those who find interest in inclusive operations. Some of you may not understand, but I believe that there's an inclusive movement that has to take place because we can't do everything. We're not trying to be everything. We need everybody on deck when it comes to the work that needs to be done. Why? Because it's a huge lift for the mayor. We stand 100% behind our mayor. I'm asking that you all would pray for our mayor. And let's believe that this thing is going to be done. Matter of fact, things are picking up very fast, very swiftly, and we're glad to be a part of it. Okay, not to delay, I believe that there's going to be a short panel Shekinah, is that something that's going to happen? Okay, give Shekinah another applause. Don't she look beautiful? Also, let me say this. My lovely wife, stand up, Minister Sheila. This is my wife of 38 years, and she has all my flowers around her. And believe it or not, 2 grandchildren up here in front. Okay, come on, Shekinah, help us with our panel.
Also, we want to give a big thank you to FaithWorks Network for being the main sponsors of this event and making this event possible. Thank you so much, Apostle Walton. And now we are going to have our panel. If we can get someone to help us with bringing a few more chairs up here, please. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce a few of our panelists. First, we have Tracy Houston, the Dean of Students at Daniel Hale Williams Elementary. Next, Minnie Alexander, Property and Facility Coordinator for the Community Center and Faith Temple of Christ. Also, I'm not sure if she's in here, but Ray Shonda Moore, there she is, Clinical Instructor of Indiana University Northwest School of Social Work, and also co-founder of More Flavor Catering. So you all will have the opportunity to taste some of the delicious hors d'oeuvres as soon as we finish. And also we have Marion Ivy, the 4th District City of Gary Councilwoman. And also Alexis Nelson, licensed social worker and founder of BEST. We need another chair, yes. All right, and so we're going to get into the panel for today. Thank you all for being a panelist. And we just have a few questions. Also, audience, please be thinking if you have any questions for our panelists that you would like to ask, please think about it and hold it until the end of our questions, because there will be an opportunity for you to be able to ask your question. So first, panelists, what stood out to you the most about the episode 3? And then also, which moments resonated with you personally? Do we have some?
Well, what resonated with me was the spotlight that's put on mental illness, because I noticed so much that things changed, even in our region after the pandemic. And I think when people were, when we were shut up in our homes and we couldn't do church, we couldn't do school, we couldn't do business, I know that impacted our children as well as adults, and I see it in the school every day. And besides, we have to remember that so many people were dealing with the loss of loved ones during that time, not necessarily due to COVID, but some due to COVID, but those were, I think, those were just made even broader, those issues, because we were going through the pandemic and people were dealing with loss, and we were cooped up because we're free people, and we're used to being out. We're used to being able to go and enjoy our families and our friends socially and sit down and have a meal together publicly, to go to the beach and to skip rocks on the water or whatever we want to do, to go shopping. And when all of that was taken away from us, and to fellowship and worship together, that was taken away from us. And even though it didn't last a long time, it made a huge impact. And we see that on our it's showing up in our children in the school, because their families were really impacted, and mental illness is just a huge issue, and it's still just continuing on, so we need the resources just to address those issues. So I thought that the spotlight on the mental issues was like spot on.
Councilwoman?
Good evening, everyone. What resonated with me the most was when she spoke about having a budget for health care just as well as food and clothing. And it really was a blinding flash of the obvious for myself. I haven't ever considered having a separate account or a budget or funds, whereas it would relate to being hospitalized or having to have a procedure or cost of medication. That is the number one barrier for our seniors, the cost of medication. And if we start at a young age with that gem that she dropped, to allocate small funds add up. 1 + 1 is still 2. We can have some reserve to protect us for what we need so far as our health care and keeping us healthy. Another thing that resonated with me, I didn't know how many properties you all had taken over. The one on 15th Avenue, I remember it used to be a branch of the military there, and my dad was in the military. So there were several points that resonated, and what Miss from the Center of Workforce, she said trust. And our people definitely need someone that they can trust. And as someone also said, meet people where they are. So if you meet them where they are and they can trust you, then maybe they'll be in tune to follow up. And lastly, I'd like to say, I wish that we would begin to celebrate people who have the courage to recognize that they want change for themselves or recognize that they need help with a problem.
Yes, those were such great nuggets. And it's like we're reliving it as you were talking about those points.
So something that resonated with me, and some people have heard me speak of it before, was just that small statement that Mayor Eddie Melton mentioned about medical and the medical concerns of the community. And that's something that resonates with me so much so because my father, as well as many people on the block that I grew up on, all developed, had asbestos in their lungs because they worked at the mills. And my father still has to battle with that. They end up taking a settlement. With at that time it was LTV still, and he ended up getting a settlement, but now we still have this community of people who are still living with asbestos. And so that medical thing is really important because now they're seniors and now they have this issue still. It bothers his breathing and things of that nature. And also what contributed to it in that whole community, well, I know my community, was we lived right by the landfill. And at that time, the landfill was open. And so they also thought that maybe that contributed to some cancers as well. And so I don't know if that was founded or anything like that, but it was just so happened a lot of people on my block, because my block, we all still, same people still live there, a lot of them develop cancers. Multiple of them have passed from cancers. And so that medical piece is really important. And so the snippet about the hospitals really resonated with me and just the medical care of our community, because it's a lot of seniors still battling with things from the past.
Thank you for shedding light regarding that topic. Did anyone else want to share regarding how episode 3 resonated with them and what stood out?
What stood out with me was the way that the docuseries really captured the speaker's heart. Because I've been around them, I'm not a counselor, but I've worked with them, and I see that you can't do that kind of work for the money. It's not an easy work dealing with people that's in certain situations. You gotta not just have the know-how, but you gotta have the heart. And I seen the heart of the speakers in the docuseries.
Yes.
What really stood out to me is when Pastor Purtle was transparent about his challenges. Sometimes when we're working with people in the field, it's very hard for them to connect if they feel like you don't understand or you haven't been through anything. But when you're transparent and you say, hey, I get it, I've been there, you can connect with people and you can begin to develop that rapport so you can be a present help for people, because people need a present help. There's a lot of things going on, and for him to share that, and I believe that is part of his story, why he does what he does. That is his why. And when you know your why and it's to help people, that is, to me, wonderful. So that stood out the most for me.
Yes, absolutely. Next question. In your opinion, why is collaboration essential in addressing the spiritual, physical, emotional, and vocational needs of this community to truly rebuild people in a holistic way?
Well, I can't repeat everything you said. That was a long sentence, but I know that, well, we learn at Faith Temple of Christ that man is a spirit, he lives in a body, and he has a soul. So we are spirit first, and so our spirit needs to be fed. We have an influx of people who have come in to move into the city. A lot have come from Illinois and surrounding areas, and they're coming into the city of Gary. And many of them, I notice, as I go out and I talk to others about the goodness of God and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, they're unchurched. They don't have church homes. And so a lot of the problems that we're seeing amongst our families, we know that there's a lack of spiritual fortitudeness that's not existing within the families. We know that God keeps the family together, and without God in your home, in your family, then the fabric of the family becomes unraveled and is not stable. And so it's definitely connected. So because we're a spirit and we were made by God. We were created by God. And so we need to make that connection with God. Not everybody has, but that is our source, our foundation. God, Jesus, he's our source, he's our foundation. So we need that spiritual component, because that's how we thrive. We thrive off of the love and the support and the protection of Jesus Christ. And so we need that. And we need to spread the love of God to our families, because a lot of them don't know. And so, they need to come to church, hear a word. And sometimes it's life-changing. And unless they step, into a church, a lot of times they don't get to hear that word. So,
To answer your question, I would have to say, being in the field of social work, we have something called the systems theory. And within the systems theory, they take one person and they see all the different people that pour into that one individual, because we all can't do it, and we can't do it by ourselves to help one person. So everybody has their own expertise, where we have our educators, our school teachers, who are pouring into that child or that family to help them with that educational need. And then you have the social workers that may be not in the school, but it may be outside the school. It may be community partners or through gymnasts or something like that. And they're teaching the parent as teachers, teaching them how to be a better parent, how to look after their child's needs, how to get resources to help that child. And then you have the institution of the church. And that church is the ones who are going to give them that spiritual that they need to connect them to their spiritual being, to learn more about Christ and to get that hope that they can make it. And then you have like the grandmother. It may be the grandmother that live on the corner house with the 5 cats. She may be a part of that system where the family may stop and talk to her every now and again, and then she gives them too some words of wisdom, some advice, and things of that. So we have to know that we all can't do it by ourselves, and it's got to take more than one person. And that's why we have all these different agencies throughout Gary. We have Community Health Net, we have Edgewater Systems, we have Gymnast who comes into this area. We have all these wonderful organizations, Boys and Girls Club. All of these different organizations and all the people can pour into a family to help them be successful. And when we have happy families, we have happy communities. We have happy communities, we have a happy city. We have a happy city,
that.
we have a happy region. And so that's what we want to do, and that's what we're striving to do.
Amazing response. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add on to that question. If not, Councilwoman Marion.
What was the beginning of the question?
So the question was, why is collaboration essential in addressing all of the needs of this community to truly rebuild people in a holistic way?
In a holistic way, the holistic way is necessary. I would just say it starts with truth. Truth in your position when you are providing the holistic healing, letting them know, just being ethical, letting them know, I've been through many things, but faith not tested can't be trusted. So whereas I may be ministering to you, my faith has been tested as well. So I have faith that can be trusted, because in those trying times, I was stronger than my storm because I held my faith, and now my faith can be trusted. So we are all free moral agents to do what we want to do, but we have to let them know the truth of the consequence of what they choose to do. So starting with truth is very, very important.
That's so good. It's important that we collaborate because everyone doesn't have all the resources, and so that collaboration piece is so essential, regardless of maybe if you don't prefer someone or organization. We're all trying to accomplish the same goal. So I hope this just encourages us that we need to collaborate in the city of Gary, because that is the only way that this community will really be rebuilt. Next question, and this will probably be our last. Well, actually, we have 2 more. Okay, 1 more. All righty. What steps can we take to close the gap in awareness so that more people are informed about the resources available, whether in workforce development, emotional therapy, healthcare, healthy nutrition, spiritual growth? Can you just share from your personal experience regarding what steps someone can take, or what steps we can take in order to close that gap in awareness?
I think one of the major steps is communication. That is key. There are so many people doing so many things in the community. And the city of Gary, they are making effort to come up with a resource hub so they can put all the different resources in one central location. So when someone needs a service, they can just either go to the site, they can call a phone number, they can look at the website, so they can get the services that they need. I also think different organizations communicating what each other does. Sometimes you sit in a room with many people and you're like, you do that? I didn't even know, because we don't talk enough about what we do, because each of us have a purpose, and we all impact someone somehow in many different ways. It doesn't matter if it's, I'm going to the grocery store for you, I'll pick up your groceries. It doesn't matter. We all have gifts that everyone needs. And if we just talk a little more and communicate more, I think that more people will know. And tell people, I like, go tell what you do. What do you do? How can you add value to people?
That's really good.
Since this is the last question and the microphone's coming my way, I would just say access. Being an elected official, just like when you are trying to win an election and people say, oh, I see all of these signs on every corner. The elected officials going to every church, you access, so you meet people where they are and do pop-ups, signs on every corner, popping up at the park pavilions, just access to the opportunity, going to where the people are.
That's great.
I would just say educate yourself on what's available. Before I sat next to this beautiful lady here, I watch her on Facebook. You can see the board meetings. You can see those things. You can go. You can attend. So when you have things that you need and you want to know what's going on in the city, before we start ranting and raving about what's not happening, what's not being done, educate yourself on what is being done, because they made themselves so much more open to the community now, more now than ever before. The door has always been open, but a lot of people don't go. And then there's, but now they bring it to you throughout the day. You can just tune in on social media and you're like, oh, they're having a meeting. What are they talking about? So just try to educate yourself. By just seeing what's going on in the city. We have city officials who aren't so high up that you can't reach them. You see us one sitting right here. So they're right here in our face, and we always can talk to them. So just get educated about what's going on.
Yes.
I would say too, just getting out there to help. A lot of times you learn what's going on when you're helping. I remember when I first started working in the pantry, I really did not know the need was so great. And I did not know so many people slept on the street and in their cars, and I actually didn't know. I didn't believe that it was actually mothers with kids sleeping in cars. But a lot of times when you get out there and help, you begin to see the resources and you begin to see what other people are doing.
Wow. That's moving.
I think the panel covered everything well said, but I would definitely concur with you, Minister Alexis. Cross collaboration is very important. We do it in the schools among grade levels, teachers. That's how students advance and how they grow. And just flooding social media, Facebook, using Facebook for good, and just putting that out there. And I don't know if what the cost involved in is that, but Facebook. Everybody talks about Facebook, the memes and the things like that they put on Facebook, and even just spreading the word of mouth, because, if we're talking about the latest thing with your friends or your relatives, the trial of Puff Daddy, change the conversation. Talk about workforce development. Hey, did you know workforce development is doing this? We don't care about what's happening with Puff Daddy. We pray for him, but come on now, we can use those words to spread good, okay?
What a great way to end the panel. Can we give a round of applause for our awesome panelists?